Welcome back to the program. We're now joined by senior Jeff Grunwald and junior Kyle Haste. Kyle, you made the huge punt block in special teams. Just kind of take me through that play. I know you guys were shuffling some personnel. You take the timeout. You know, when you guys line up finally and get on the ball, just tell me what happened.
Yeah, well, they came out and we noticed they were going to punt the ball. So I saw that I had a clear view or a clear lane for to make a play. And I took it and was able to make a play and give our offense some good field position. So it was pretty exciting.
What was it? I mean, is it one of those things where you almost get back there and it seems like every time you see somebody going for a punt block, you see the flag come out, it's either roughing or running into the kicker. Is it one of those things where you just went all out and said, you know, as long as I get the ball, I'll be okay?
Yeah, I just made sure I hit the ball and was able to make a play. And luckily it came through and, like I said, was able to give our offense some good field position to work with. And, yeah, it was just really exciting for us.
And, Jeff, Kyle kind of started it. You finished it, picking it up on the sidelines. Were you kind of trying to scoop it and score there, maybe?
I was trying to scoop it and score. I failed, obviously, so I just fell on top of it. But it was almost like the ball had a mind of its own. It just wouldn't stop rolling and stop bouncing around. So I just figured I'd just fall on it and we'll recover it. So.
For sure, and we've kind of seen you transition, you know, from your tight end role that you've been playing most of the season, kind of moving into that H-back, fullback role. I know you did some of your freshman year. Kind of what's that transition been like getting back into that?
I think it's a lot of fun, actually, to be able to play two different positions. I mean, with Fedorowicz being in there, and it kind of messes with the defense. And I actually enjoy playing. I played fullback in high school, so it's kind of fun to be able to get down and pull and kind of be like an offensive lineman and be part of the big guys. So it's fun for me, at least.
And Coach, you're a former running back. Just kind of sum up Jeff Grunwald, the ball carrier. We got to see him make an appearance on Saturday. What's pros and cons?
Well, that's the first time we handed the ball to him this year, and I think it was clear out on the 2-yard line, which usually we like to even be a little closer before we put that formation in. But he did a great job of bouncing off of a would-be tackler and he made a nice lunge into the end zone. It was a huge score and had a lot of fun watching it.
And, Jeff, when you guys did line up in that Maryland die at the goal line, you get the call to run it, first career carry at North Central.
Yeah.
What's going through your head as you hear the play call and you start to get to line up in your position? Is it one of those things where you just think, don't fumble? I mean, what?
Well, the no fumble, obviously, we always, think, no turnovers and everything. So that wasn't really in the back of my mind. It was more just, oh my God, this is going to be my first and probably my last carry ever. So I was just thinking, I got to get it. And Kyle Antos came off and he was like, Coach, just run up the middle. And my eyes just lit up. And I was just like, oh my God. And then Coach called it in. And so I just knew I had to just get it in there or at least make some sort of big attempt to get in. And lucky enough, I got in. So
maybe one of those things where you're thinking, this probably won't happen again, so I should probably make the most of it.
Yeah, and I got stopped right at the 1, and I was like, oh no, and I just kind of took an extra step and fell in. So lucky enough, I was long enough.
Hey, any way to get in. Well, one of the most consistent parts of the Cardinal offense over the past 4 years has been wide receiver Steve Lavick. We look at the receiver's record-breaking career in this week's Cardinal Corner. It was a simple slant route on 3rd down, something Steve Lavick had done countless times for 4 seasons at North Central. Only this one gave him 2,444 career receiving yards, setting a new college record. To those around him, it's no surprise.
Ever since freshman year, we hear about stories about how Steve has done everything since his freshman year. He's worked. He didn't start right away, but he's one of those playmakers. He's done that his whole career here.
He's probably one of the most modest guys we have on the team, and he's out there being a great leader and helping us out. So, just to see that, it's good for him. I'm happy for him.
And he's been making plays for the Cardinal offense for 4 seasons now, even making a name for himself as a freshman.
He's tough. Steve's tough. As a freshman, I'll never forget, we give him a hard time, but his nickname his freshman year was Tough Guy because he'd come out here on days like this and have shorts and a T-shirt and that's it. And never, ever, ever wore sleeves. Now we've forced him to.
5'9", 185 pounds. So, yeah, he's not your 6'3", 210 pounds receiver like Andy is. But he works hard and he does things really well. And, if anybody who's watched the game has seen that Steve Lavick doesn't go down on the first hit. And sometimes actually we've had to say, Steve, once you make a guy miss, once you take a hit, maybe 2 hits, you need to get down.
The tough guy's knocking on the door of another record as well, the NCC career receptions record, which Cardinal insiders credit to one thing.
I think the number one thing is just he's a hard worker.
He plays hard, he practices hard, he works hard in the off season, and he's been doing it for 4 years.
I think that's been one of his greatest assets. Early on in camp, in the season, you'd see him out running extra sprints after practice, after everybody was done, catching extra balls, running extra routes. Those are the types of things that he's been doing for 4 years, really, that has gotten him to this point.
Those types of things the senior captain does to play at this high level haven't gone unnoticed among his peers either.
We talked about work ethic a couple weeks ago, and I asked the offensive guys, who's the first guy that comes to your mind? And I had them all write it down, one after another after another. The first person who came to their mind was Steve Lavick. So it's not an accident that Steve's had this kind of success. He's worked at it.
Even with the immense success and personal accolades, Lavick is simply hoping to keep the fun ride that has been his senior football season rolling along.
The record feels pretty good. I won't lie about that. I mean, anyone would feel good about, having a school record and stuff, but the thing that's most important to me is being around these guys for another week. I'm just really excited to play another game and to be with these guys.
Kyle, you're a defensive back. In a couple years when you guys come back for homecoming, the alumni game, what's the key for stopping Steve Lavick?
Well, Steve's an awesome wide receiver. Takes a lot of game planning and a lot of practice to, kind of figure out how you want to stop a guy like him, because he's got speed and he's got great moves off the ball. To be honest, it would be hard. It would be very hard, but Steve's a great guy, and he's a great wide receiver. So looking back, I'm not really sure how you would defend a guy like him, but yeah, he's a good wide receiver.
And Coach, he's a guy that's been very consistent in 4 years in this program. What's he meant to the program?
Well, he's got all kinds of nicknames. One of them is Tuffy, that he picked up way back when he was a freshman because he would get in there and block, and he refused to wear any sleeves when it got real cold and things like that, and he's a very hard worker. He's been a good leader. He's really well respected by his teammates and so forth, so it's a good thing, but he probably wouldn't like to have Kyle defending him all the time because Kyle's very fast and would make it pretty hard for him to get open like he does against some of the other guys.
All right, so maybe a good potential matchup a couple years down the road. Jeff, as we look forward to Saturday, you're a senior, one of those guys that played against Whitewater as a freshman in 2007. Do you guys want to get back at him at all?
Absolutely. This is like I mentioned Kyle Haste before, he's our captain, he's one of our leaders, and all he talks about is Whitewater. All he talked about it was against St. Norbert was getting to Whitewater. And the whole offense is that way. I know the defense is that way. So we had our lifts earlier today, and the whole team is just ready to go, in my opinion. I think we're ready to go, and we want that title, and we want to take it from them. So.
And you guys have had a couple of days to kind of break them down on film. What are you kind of seeing from the line of scrimmage, those defensive linemen up there, when you guys battle coming up here in a few days?
We were watching film this morning, and it's the same thing for the past couple of years. They're big, they're strong, they're fast, but so are we. So, and I think it's just going to be like a big battle. So whoever's better, and I think we are. And but not taking anything from them, but they are a great team, and so is that defense. So.
And Kyle, you're one of those guys that plays nearly every phase in special teams. A lot of times that third phase in these big games is really what it comes down to. What are some of the things you guys are going to have to do as units to kind of be sound and make sure to try to make one of those big plays?
Yeah, special teams can make the key difference. The early of the season, we were kind of slow to get started with special teams, but through the season and now later in the season, we've come a long ways, and we've been able to actually make a lot of plays as far as touchdowns against other teams with our special teams. So hopefully we can come through and make some big plays for us to help out our offense and defense through special teams. So look forward to it.
And Coach Thorne kind of alluded to it earlier. You guys are kind of getting a slice of professional life here with, in the middle of the term kind of big break here as far as classes go. What's it been like to be able to solely focus on football?
Yeah, well, it's great because, you don't have to worry about classes or studying for tests. You can just focus on football, watch film, go to meetings, not have any, or just have the luxury of not worrying about anything else at this point. So it's been nice.
Well, guys, we appreciate you coming by and can't wait for kickoff.
Yeah,
thank you. Well, we're taking a quick timeout, but when we get back, Clark Tuschel will hop on set to update us on the Cardinal athletic world.